And welcome everyone to the latest version of Corona P&A with Jack Kenna and Corona Hall. Sorry, it's Paranormal Q&A with Jack Kenna and Carly Hall.
I'm never gonna live it down.
We're not doing Corona tonight. No, we're not doing Corona tonight. So we should be live, and I'm sure we'll have some people popping in here shortly. We just started up, so see what's happening live on the stream. So it's all good. So far, no. Oh, Vicky's on. See Vicky.
Oh, hi, Vicky.
Bob, John. How's everybody doing out there tonight? Oh, John was just watching me on Haunted Case Files. Oh, okay. Didn't know that was on. Didn't know that was on tonight. I show up every so often on Travel Channel somewhere, one show or another. I've only been on a few, I guess.
Just a couple.
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah, Keith, Sarah.
Hey guys.
How's Keith out there tonight? So hey John, which episode of Haunted Case Files was it? Just out of curiosity. There's Teresa Fowler. Our buddy Bob is on. How's it going out there, Bob?
Hey.
Still surviving out there too with all this coronavirus stuff. Still for surviving quarantine. I've had enough of this quarantine. So
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. So Carly, you decided to do something different. I know.
Yes.
What are you doing now? You started something up. You ordered some stuff today. I know that.
Yeah, it's like a felting, like where you take the needle and you take some wool and you like roll it in a ball and you like stab it a bunch of times. Sounds more like violent than it is, but like it's really cool and like you can make little cute little like animals and stuff.
The sheep aren't still attached to that wool, are they?
No.
Oh, okay. As long as you're not stabbing the sheep, it's okay. That wouldn't be good.
I don't do that to animals.
Well, it's talking sticking needles into wool. I didn't know if it's still attached to sheep. Though. That's all.
I'm not that violent. Only when I'm hungry. And you get the brunt of that.
Then you might eat the sheep. I don't know.
Exactly.
Hello, Ruth. I see Ruth out there. Vicky. Yeah, we're staying safe, Vicky.
We are.
Oh, let's start this again, Jack. Jesus, that's yawning. I don't know where that comes from. I really don't. Bobby Carter, good evening out there to you as well. Sarah Alexi says, I have seen you on TV. Quarantine is too much. Darn right. Yeah, and I'm on a few shows out there. I don't know. What was I on, Carly? Haunted Case Files, Paranormal Survivor, Haunted Hospitals, Haunted this, Haunted that, Haunted the other. I don't know. Too many haunted things, haunted shows.
Yeah.
A haunting. Or is on a haunting with Ellen.
Haunting, yes.
With Ellen and Sarah. Yeah. Ellen McNeil and Sarah Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
Cindy Leach says hi. Oh, you're from Maine. Oh, Cindy. Okay. Bob Burnell's. Oh, Bob Burnell's friend. Okay. Awesome. It's good to see you, Cindy.
Welcome.
Robin Kale says hi. Hi, Robin.
Yeah.
So, again, we're always here. Damn it. I don't know.
Here to answer your questions.
Yeah, to answer your questions. We're always here to yawn at you, I guess. That's Jack's thing these days. I ain't yawn at you. No, we're here to answer your questions. Any questions you have regarding anything paranormal, whether it be James Creechbaum is here. Hello, James. Hey. Whether it be ghosts or cryptids or UFOs or whatever it may be, we will try our best to answer your questions. Mostly we delve into the spirit world, but we do delve into other things as well. And we should have our buddy Steve Coles on some night. He's a Squatch detective. We shouldn't talk all things Squatch and all that and have a discussion about that. He's a good guy, Steve is.
He has a good show himself.
Yes, he does. It's the Squatch detective.
Plug for Steve. Yes.
Yeah. And he's on Sunday nights. I believe it's when Steve is on. And great show by him. If you're interested in all the Squatch detective stuff, reach out to Steve Coles, a Squatch detective. And you can find him right here on Facebook as well. And his show is also on YouTube as well. Now you have Jeffrey from Wisconsin. How you doing, Jeffrey? Holly Prue. I know who Holly Prue is. We have a question from Vicky. All right. So here's Vicky's question. What was the very scariest paranormal experience if you've encountered? Scariest I've encountered. That's a good question. I'll let Carly go first. I got to think about it.
Me? Oh, okay. Well, my scariest paranormal experience is actually on Paranormal Survivor. Season 5, Season 5, Episode 5. It's called Dark Dreams. It was an 8-year-long demonic haunting that thankfully is now resolved. So that would be mine. But that was
out of all those years, what was the scariest thing you ever experienced with that? I think that's
a tough one. I would think the scariest experience there was how much they had a grasp on everybody around me. Like, they really do influence the people around you, and they really do make it known that they want you to be alone. And I think that was the scariest experience, was feeling alone.
Okay.
And not having anybody to turn to during that. Not even your own parents.
Yeah.
Like, you literally had nobody. You had no support system in this. So I think that, besides the guide that came and helped me, but I think the scariest experience would be knowing that they controlled that. And so you felt really helpless.
Right. Mine was any investigation I've ever done with Ellen McNeil. It's very scary. Always scary. Yeah.
She's so scary, the ghosts are scared of her.
It's true. Yeah, the ghosts don't come around her. They're scared of her. Yeah, she scares me, though. She does scare me. No, that's not true. My scariest... well, it was actually the one thing that got me out of the paranormal. Goodness, I apologize tonight, people. I don't know what it is. It's
literally, he wasn't doing this before the live stream.
I wasn't. It's like somebody's trying to stop me from talking or something. It's very strange.
Do I need to come over and bless you? Because I got some holy water.
Maybe you might need to. My scariest thing was what happened to me when I was 17, and it's on a TV show now. It's called My Paranormal Nightmare. I don't think it's aired down here to States yet. It has aired up in Canada. But there was something very demonic that came to me when I was 17 and really scared the living bejesus out of me, that I got away from everything paranormal. And I did not go back to anything paranormal related until I was in my, until Ghost Hunters came out. I had totally forgotten about what had happened to me by then. And it was probably, it was 2001 when they came out. So it wasn't until many years later I got back into it. Since then, not much really scares me anymore. But it was a crazy experience, having something truly demonic to try to come for you. And have something actually angelic intervene. So I don't want to give too much away because it's a show that's still out there. It's still going to air. But that would have been mine. Yeah. Here's another question from Robin Kennedy. What's your opinion on premonitions? I have had a few myself. My opinion on premonitions, I do, they are real. I've had them. So I can speak from my own experience that the premonitions are real. I have had something that I've either dreamt about or kind of envisioned was going to happen, and then maybe several weeks later it did. Nothing ever bad, nothing ever terrible, but just things that would actually occur. So I do think it does happen. My mother used to have premonitions. She had a premonition of me having a car accident one time, and I did. And everybody was okay, which was also in her premonition, but my truck pretty much got destroyed. So things like that happen. What about you, Carly? What do you think on premonitions?
Premonitions, they're real, definitely real. People definitely have them. It's a good, the way I take note of it is it's a time to really pay attention to what's going on around you, and to really, not so much as keep your guard up, but kind of just really pay attention for any kind of signs or messages that may be during that specific time. Because I feel like that's a pinpoint of time where it is brought to your attention at that exact time. So I don't know, but yes, I've had premonitions, freaky, but pretty cool in the same time too.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's a question from Cindy Leach, and I know somebody told her just type your question out, and that's correct. Anybody has a question here, just type your question out into the forum, and we will see it, and we will answer it. If we do miss it, we will try to get back to it, or if somebody brings it to our attention, hey, you missed a question from so and so, we will go back and look it up. But this one from Cindy, it's I guess kind of a question. She goes, I have a desk lamp that just started glowing. Not like the light came on, it was a glow. Then after a few minutes, it just died out. Okay, so being in engineering and being from that end of things and knowing about electronics, it's that, Cindy, if it just happens once, or even if it happens a couple times, it could just be a residual charge that's left within the lamp, even though the lamp is turned off, and the light picks up that residual charge and it glows. Think of it like a static electric charge, and it could pick it up and it might glow a little bit until that charge disseminates, and once it's run the charge out, then the lamp goes back to off. So even though the lamp's not turned on, it can light up, kind of a glowing effect. I wouldn't put it as anything paranormal related just yet. I mean, if there's something else that was going on, if this happens a lot while something else was happening, like maybe you heard a disembodied voice, or you had other strange things going on in your home, it might mean something. But for now, if it's just that one thing, that one incident, I wouldn't put too much on it as being paranormal. I would put it on it just being an electrical issue. And that lamp, depending how old that lamp is, it may not be good anymore. You may want to think about throwing that lamp out. Because if it has a short in it or it has something wrong with it, you could end up with an electrical fire. So things to think about. That's the other end of the paranormal, trying to figure out what is paranormal and what is potentially something more of a natural cause. And Teresa Fowler just wanted to say hi.
Hey.
Have to be awake at 4:30 in the morning to work. Stay safe. You too, Teresa.
Yep.
Get some sleep if you got to be up that early.
And thank you for working.
Thank you for working, and yes, and thank you for stopping in at least to say hi to us and let us know you're okay. We do worry about each of you out there. We worry about our friends and our fans, that everybody's doing okay. We hope you are all doing okay. And here's a question from I hope I pronounce it right, Sarah Alexia. Let me know if I'm not pronouncing your first name correctly there. Are demonic hauntings truly harsh on you? The answer to that is yes. Maybe not in the way you think, though. They can be very draining, energy-wise. Often, like if you're the one being haunted, like when we deal with demonic hauntings, we have some strange things happen. My GPS will try to reroute me to go back home, typically, no matter when I go to that location. Although it will work fine every other time, but until I go to that house or that location, it'll try to reroute me all the time to turn around and go back, and go home. As far as being an investigator goes, yes, it can be they can drain you of a lot of energy. They can also, initially, they try to fool you by making you think nothing's going on. They're very quiet. Most amount of cases when you initially get them are very quiet. You wouldn't think anything's happening. It's not like you see in the movies or TV where immediately the investigator is being thrown around the room or something like that. Just really doesn't happen that way. Those types of things can happen as you go on and you really try to get rid of the demonic that's there, if it's in possession of the person, or if the person is at least being oppressed by a demonic spirit. You can run into things of like, more physical harm type of things. They are very harsh on the person who is being haunted, who is being oppressed. Carly can speak to that herself.
Oh yeah,
It's
absolutely.
mental. It's mental and physical.
I would have to say it's like 95% mental, because they try to turn you on yourself, and they turn everybody against you, even those that are closest to you. Believe it or not, they will, and they don't care, and they will take their sweet time about it. Their ultimate goal is to make you potentially take your life, which I was very, very close to doing. They will literally drain you until you are past nothing, past the empty on the gauge, and they will do anything that they can to freak you out and make you scared. And they do not underestimate them, because they are very smart, and they will change up their tactics. Like, you think you get used to a certain thing, they will change it up immediately and make you completely just change it up and make it entirely scary. And that was the worst 8 years of my life, and I would never ever want to do that again. And I would never ever wish it upon anybody, not even my worst enemy. So it's, again, yeah, it is not exactly what the TV portrays it to be, but it, in the same sense, it's not something to be underestimate. So
Yeah, and they do know what scares you. By the way,
they do. They know you better than you know yourself.
yeah, they know you. They know they can get into your head. They know exactly who you are and what you are and what you've done. And yeah,
What you
remember
went through.
a lot of these things are considered fallen angels. So even though there are different types of demonic type entities out there, and not just those of the Catholic faith. But there is stuff. But they do know. They all do know about you, and they know your most intimate details. And just Sarah says she lives in Rhode Island, where TAPS originated. Yeah, very
Hey,
cool. Very
that's
cool.
awesome.
TAPS is still down there. They still exist. I know some members of the actual TAPS team. And yeah, they're still out there. They still do exist. The Taps home team. Okay, so okay,
I
I already
think that
did
was a
that one.
repeat.
Yeah, that was a repeat from Cindy. We kind of addressed that already. Robin said thanks. Um, oh, okay. Where do we stand on empaths and being empathic? I don't believe in any of them. No, that's not true.
Yeah, right.
I am somewhat empathic. I'm more sensitive, I guess, really, but I am empathic. I pick up. It's very strange. I pick up on other people's pains and aches, and it can cause me problems because
He does.
I have enough of my own. So it can actually intensify my own. It's very strange. Yeah. So I am empathic. I do believe in them. They exist out there. I'm one of them. Carly, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's very strange. It's a strange concept, and yes, it's definitely true. I'm empathic as well. And it's really funny when we bounce off of each other, because we'll both be like, "Please take some pain medication now," you know, kind of dull it on both ends, because and we can kind of support each other in that end as well. So it's always good. But you have to make sure that you maintain your grounding and shielding, so that that doesn't get out of control.
Very true. Very true.
So
And Cindy Leach also brought up the fact that she goes, okay, okay, thanks. She goes, also in her home, she smells strong cigarettes. No one smokes here. Again, this would be something. Is it always in the same location? Does it seem to vary within the home? Some homes, if there was somebody there that was a smoker at one time and they smoked inside their home, the home can retain
oh
that
yeah,
smell, especially within wood and stuff like that. And if you've recently been working on an area or in an area where someone was a heavy smoker and they smoked a lot, or even just over years, that those smells can get trapped in the woods and materials of the home. So you got to check into that. Is it something that moves, that you can follow it? Like if you pick up the smoke smell and it's in one room and then it's suddenly gone, can you follow it to another location in the home? That might indicate something more paranormal in nature. Where if it's always just in one room or one or two locations and it's always there, then that might be something that's actually trapped within the woods and within the wood of the home or the materials of the home, and it could be something you could look at, maybe trying to get rid of that through cleaning and or even using other scents to mask it, um, or eliminate it. So it just depends. Just
Yeah.
depends.
And this is the debunking that we do when we have client cases and stuff. Like, we literally go through everything and any possibility that could be there.
Okay. She
So,
says the new lamp wasn't cheap. Okay. I would again say, depending on what it's plugged into, is the home a newer home or older home? How's the wiring in the home? Um, Even though lamp is good, yeah, keep an eye on it. I mean, it may be something paranormal. It may not be something paranormal. Again, if something happens once and it really doesn't happen again, I'm not really keen on it being necessarily paranormal in nature.
mhm.
Um, just keep an eye on it, see what happens. It is strange that a lamp would do that, but again, it could have just been a residual charge that it held. Um, it's hard to say. You can even look up online about that lamp and see if there's something like that happens with that lamp. There's tons of stuff you can always look up online, not only for paranormal wise, but just, hey, I've got this lamp that it tends to start to glow at times. Is this a problem with this lamp? Just because something expensive doesn't mean it's maybe not an issue with it. Just like cars, right? Cars have recalls. Check on things like that. I mean, it's always good to check. It can't hurt, right? If you can't find anything about it, then keep an eye on it. See what happens. Um, and go from there. The fact that you're getting cigarette smoke in the house, again, does it move around? If it's moving around, then yeah, that could be something paranormal. Um, so it's just that I don't really recommend people investigate their homes though. If it seems innocuous and nothing's really causing any problems, even if it is something paranormal, it's all right. Just kind of leave it alone. Um, if they might be trying to get your attention for something, you'll find out eventually. But don't encourage it, because if you try to start talking to something and there's something there, you can make things worse for yourself. So just be careful about that. Um, Here's an interesting question from Bobby Carter. What is your opinion on old pictures that the eyes look like they follow you?
Ooh.
My mama had one. It was so spooky. I hated it being in the room. As far as those pictures go, some pictures were designed to be that way because they wanted it for the person to follow you around the room. We had a case. Well, there was an item in a college one time, Fisher College over in Boston, where we started calling this thing Creepus Maximus. It was a bust of Caesar, and the eyes were designed as such. This brass head of Caesar, and with these eyes with these white shells in the center, and it was a way that they were made at one time. But anyways, the eyes looked like they would follow you, and there was a reason for that. If you look back into the history of like Greek gods and stuff like that, and the way they were made, these darker um, um, statues and stuff with these white eyes. They were made that way to look as if the eyes were watching you, because they wanted you to believe that the gods, they were usually statues of the gods were watching you. So there was an era when they took these older pictures so it would always look like the person was looking at you. It wasn't meant to be creepy. It was meant to be like, oh, you're this person is always watching over you. And yeah, they got more creepy than they did for whatever. But I wouldn't say any of them are haunted. I mean,
There's actually a definition that applies to that. It's called ravine.
okay.
It's a eerie phenomenon or an illusion that in some portraits the eyes follow you no matter where you stand in the room, but it's just an illusion.
Yes.
They did that on purpose.
Yes. Yeah, they're done that way on purpose. So here's a question for you, Carly, from Vicky. Carly, how old were you when you first got interested in the paranormal, and what initially got you interested?
Well, this is interesting. It is interesting because I've been
I'll
a
leave
part
that
of the.
question up.
Okay. I've been a part of the paranormal my entire life, ever since I was a little kid. I've had psychic medium abilities since I was a youngin', you know. So the paranormal has really been a huge part of my life. I first started actually getting interested in it a couple years ago when I met Jack over at Ocean State Paracon. He was actually one of the first people that I told to about my story, and the whole group that I was with, they believed me and they were able to help me. So I got interested from then on because I was able to help people like me, the position that I was in, you know. So a couple years ago, I would say interested in client cases, but my whole life for the paranormal overall.
Very cool. Well, again, you had that whole demonic haunting thing too.
Yes. And it wasn't always negative. I did have actually like legitimate imaginary friends that were spirits that I were some of my closest friends, and they were positive. So I didn't have just negative experiences.
Very cool.
So.
Here's a question from Barry Martz. Same question for both of us. What are your thoughts on shadow figures that take up a human form? Should they be avoided if observed during an investigation? Barry, I would tell you this. I've seen those. I have seen them. I saw one 3 feet away from me, kind of staring, looking at me. Looked like a female figure. It was during a client case, and just gonna leave that up there. There was nothing negative about it. There was nothing that I got that was trying to harm me or anything. It was just looking at me. I actually caught an EVP shortly after I said the word. I said something like, shit. Because what I had done after I saw it, yes, I tried to observe it. And I tried to observe it in my infrared camera, and it didn't show up in the infrared camera. I could see it with my eyes, straight on. Like I'm looking at you guys right now, straight ahead. And I could see it there. But when I looked through my viewfinder in my infrared camera, it was not there. And I just said, shit. And shortly after that, within seconds, the thing started to fade away. But at that moment, I caught a female voice on the recorder, which we found later, said a woman voice saying, didn't like me. I think she thought I was swearing at her and that I was mad at her or something. And that wasn't the case. We were able to also, me and one of the investigators, Sarah, able to follow a cold spot around the room, that same room where I saw it. Follow a cold spot around the room till it disappeared behind one door that we didn't have permission to go into that room. So, I don't always think they're negative. Sometimes they're curious about you too, which this one may have been. So if you can observe it, if you don't feel fear from it, if you don't get a feeling of I shouldn't be here, I want to run, or I feel threatened by this thing, then try to observe it. Try to talk to it. And do what you can. See if you can catch anything on your recorder. See if you can catch it on the video camera. If you feel some negativity coming off of it, or you do feel like this is something I shouldn't be hanging around, then leave. That's my suggestion to you. Leave. I don't typically do that. I typically stay anyway, but that's me. I just been doing this stuff for too long. So I kind of stay. Sometimes I'll even run after them and then they disappear. So, I've done that too. It's just what I do. So Carly, your thoughts, since it is to both of us.
Yeah, no, I agree. If you see a shadow figure, and you gotta basically go off of your gut. I mean, that's your intuition. That's your sixth sense picking up what exactly you're looking at. So if you don't feel fear and it's benign, then it's harmless. That's its intent. And if you don't feel comfortable and you just want to get out of there, then get out of there. I mean, you're not gonna do any good by just keep standing there. So you have to look out for yourself at that point, and really judge for yourself. So
when in doubt, get the hell out.
Yep.
So our friend Sean Williams, he was in our paranormal class last year. He says, hey to Jack and Carly. So hey, Sean, we miss you guys. We'll all be getting together soon. Yep, we'll all be getting together soon. And Bobby Carter says, I saw an apparition. She saw an apparition the other day in her bedroom. It was there and then disappeared quickly. That is very typical of paranormal activity. shadow figures, things you see like that, they don't last very long. They last for moments, seconds. They don't linger. They don't hang around. Oh, I can watch this thing for an hour. No, it doesn't usually happen that way. You've got to observe something while you can. Occasionally, very rarely, you may get a shadow figure that if it's at least at a distance or a little bit of a distance, it may keep lingering and moving and back and forth. And those are your chances to try to communicate and interact with it, which I had that experience along with 4 other guys at Rolling Hills Asylum. We were able to watch this shadow figure into the hallway, moving back and forth and reacting to some things we were saying and doing. So we got to kind of watch it for quite a while. We did try to record it on camera, but for whatever reason, the camera wouldn't pick it up. But we all saw it with our own eyes. That does happen quite a bit. The camera doesn't always pick it up, but you can see these things with your own eyes. And then it suddenly disappeared, and we heard a loud breath next to us, like a, and it disappeared, was gone. And I think it got frustrated with us and left. That was its way of saying, I'm out of here. Here's one from Ruth. Before I get to that, Sarah, okay. Well, you know quite a lot. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Oh, thanks,
We
Sarah.
know what we know what we know. We've had a lot of experiences. We try to share as much as we can, Sarah, and that's what we just try to do. And let's see. Oh, from Ruth. I'm gonna put this one up. Ruth says, I was cleaning an apartment today, and I went into one closet on the 2nd floor, and it seemed like it was someone hiding place. I could sense a presence, and then I saw bullet holes in the windows and found out there was a murder there. That's
Oh,
interesting.
jeez.
That's interesting. So maybe since you've picked up on that presence and that feeling of someone hiding, maybe that's what they were trying to do. Maybe there was more than one person there, and what you're picking up on was the residual energy from somebody else hiding, trying to hide from what was going on. Or maybe it was the person who was killed that was trying to hide. And again, you're picking up either on that residual energy or the presence of the spirit that was there. Hard to always tell if it's a spirit or not until you actually get the chance to investigate something, or if you have interaction, or whether it's something intelligent, or whether it's just energy that's trapped there, especially from an incident like that where a murder took place. That could be just residual energy that's trapped there. Very interesting, though, Ruth. Very interesting. I'm just looking for some questions here. Oh, here's my sister. Okay.
Hey, Shelly.
Black Shadow Ghost knows her well. It's been haunting her and wrecking places since she lived so many. Lived for so many years. Even looked into its glowing red eyes and laughed. That would be my sister. She would do that.
That would be her. She would do that.
Yeah, but there's somebody else who's had this shadow figure follow her around for many, 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 many years, and she's learned to deal with it. It makes messes at sometimes in places she's lived. It's been quiet here at my house, and she's been living here. So let's hope it stays that way. That's because I scare things anyway. I tend to chase stuff away.
You're such a jerk. They just want to leave you to be as far away from you as possible.
And
I say that with love, by the way, guys.
Yeah, sure. Cindy says it's always the same time around 3 or 4 a.m. I assume that she's meaning the cigarette smell. That's interesting. If it only happens one time of the day, then that's more interesting. It could be paranormal related. How do you pronounce that first name?
Daniela?
Daniela Stas. I'm empath too, but till 3 years ago, I didn't know what's happened with me because at Germany, such things not so famous. I know what she's trying to say there. That was often a crazy life. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Things aren't so well talked about, or actually even encouraged to talk about in Germany. But yeah, being an empath is very interesting predicament sometimes, because you get these things, and if you don't have somebody to talk to about them, they can get a bit overwhelming, and you're looking for answers. You want answers, so you can always come here, and Daniela will try to answer your questions for you, whatever questions you have. If you don't have somebody over there where you live that can help you out, I know different countries are look at things different ways. So, different cultures look at things different ways, and some things are frowned upon, and others not so much, and others more open. So, but it's tough when you don't have anybody you can really talk to about it, Daniela. So, if you do want to talk to us, always feel free.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
here's kind of a follow up to hers. Since a few months, I had see a light in the middle of the night, like a candle. I can't explain where it comes from. What I would tell you, since you're seeing this, try to observe it. Um, if you can possibly maybe take a photo of it, don't try to interact with it, but just maybe try to take a photo of it for yourself, just so you can maybe get a better idea of what it is. See if you can recognize where it's coming from, where it might be that light might be coming from. It could be something spirit related. It could be something else. You've got to try to debunk these things before you just jump to a conclusion that anything is paranormal. Remember that, which is what always we try to do. Even when we're helping people on cases, we try to, as the term goes, debunk these things first, these experiences they're having. We try to find a natural explanation for it before we make any assumption it's paranormal. We get a lot of people who think they have demonic cases, and they're these are clients who call us for help. They ask for our help, and then they tell us how they know already what's going on, and they then it's paranormal, and they know it's a demon,
And how to fix it.
and how they think it should be fixed. Well, then what'd you call me for? That's what I always say. Then what'd you call me for? If you know all this, what'd you call me for help for? All right. Set all aside. Anytime I come into an investigation, I tell clients, set aside what you think you know is going on. You've asked us to come and help. Let me really look at your case. Let me compare. I'm going to listen to everything you have to say, and I will. I listen to everything you have to say. I'm not going to ask you for proof or evidence or anything like that. That's my job. That's our job. We go in and we try to find out the truth and the real evidence of what's going on. And trust me, we've done enough cases. Carly's still learning here, but she's experienced enough of her own case. And I've done enough that if there is something demonic, truly demonic going on, we will know it. Okay, we'll be able to tell you that. If it's not, we're going to tell you that too. But some people take offense to us telling them, no, you don't have going on what you think you had going on. And unfortunately, that does happen, and people get upset by that. But I tell them, you asked me to come in and give you my honest opinion about things, and that's what we do. And one of the first things we try to do is find natural explanation for things. And some people don't want to accept that, and it's okay. There's nothing I can do much about that. But they have to remember, people need to remember that when you ask a professional to come in, no matter what kind of professional it is, and professional in the sense that we have much more experience at all different type of cases than you do. It's just like asking a plumber to come in and fix your pipes. He does it on a daily basis. He can tell right away what's wrong, what's not wrong. He's not waiting for you to tell him, well, I don't, that's not it. It's this. I know this is it. I know my pipes, but you're not a plumber. You may know what you think is causing a clog or causing a problem, but he can tell through investigating it and looking at it what's really causing your problem, right? So you got to do the same thing with anybody. It's like anything else. Guy you bring your mechanic, you bring your car to. You're not going to tell him, this is what's wrong with my car, fix that. Well, he might go, okay, you think you know, I'll fix that. And then they still got the problem because you didn't allow him or that person to do their job to figure out what's really wrong with your car. You've got to trust the person you asked to come in to help you, that they're going to do the right thing for you, and they're going to really try to help you. And sometimes that means setting aside what your current belief is and saying, okay, maybe I don't really know, and I'll set that aside and see if what you're suggesting and what you're doing makes sense, and if it begins to help. So you've got to look at those things. Not everything in the paranormal world is demonic, by the way. Very few things are.
Yes.
And here's a question from Jenny, our friend Jenny.
Yay, Jenny.
All right, Carly,
These are good questions.
you go
These are
ahead and
good
read
questions.
this one. You go ahead and read
Okay.
it. You take care of it.
Do you think there are different spiritual realms? Or are the spirits from 1700s hanging out with the spirits that have recently passed? Can two spirits from different realms communicate with the same person? So, like, say you have a spirit from the 1700s. Can they talk to somebody who died in, let's say, like 1970s?
Yes. In some cases. The spirits in a location are aware of each other. There are cases where spirits in a location are not aware of each other. Why that is, we don't know. But we have run into both instances where even spirits who just died recently, both in the same location, are not aware of each other. I don't think it has to do with the time frame in which they pass, because we know, well, the theory is, or what we believe is, when we cross over, relatives, past relatives are there waiting for us, and they can communicate with us even before we pass. We've seen this. I know people have seen this in nursing homes. They've watched older people who are getting ready, or very close to passing, communicating with a mother or a father or a sister who has already passed on. So they're communicating with this spirit, talking to them. Most people think that's crazy. These people are just nuts. They're crazy. But I actually do think there is spirit communication there going on. And that's because I do know someone who brought a K2 into the nursing home with them, while this woman was communicating with what she said was her mother, and the K2 would go off every time supposedly the deceased mother, was speaking. And when it stopped, the woman would answer and she'd talk. And then when she stopped, the K2 would communicate again. The woman would be like, There was actual communication going on there. She didn't have a digital recorder with her, but I could say that happened consistently for 20 minutes. So that tells me someone was communicating, and that K2 was picking up that spirit communication. Mm-hmm. So very interesting stuff. So yes and no. In some cases, spirits know each other. They know they're there. They know they're from different eras, from different times. In other cases, they're not aware of each other. It's like anything else. No, there's no one and done. There's no clear cut, direct, simple answer to anything. It depends on the situation. It depends on the circumstances. Sometimes spirits are aware of each other, but they don't communicate with each other because they don't want to. It's like people, right? Just because you hang out with somebody doesn't mean you want to hang out with them all day, or you want to talk to them. You may not like that person. Think spirits are any different? Eh. Oh, Melody.
Hi, Melody.
I thought you had your own show now, Melody. We thought you were on.
I thought I saw that you were going live today.
Yeah, that's why we didn't call you.
I know.
Well, we got everything. We've got our stuff all messed up. We got to get you on, Melody. For God's sakes, we need to get you on this show. No joke. So if you're available next Tuesday, you're coming on the show.
I saw it on Facebook, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, it must not be today.
Unless you was live 7 to 8. Melody, were you?
I hope not.
Do you have a live show on Tuesdays from 7 to 8? If you want to be on next week, we're having you on next week. So plan on next Tuesday, unless I tell you otherwise.
She's coming on next week. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Coming on.
I'm going to make it happen.
Unless you have your own show, Melody, that you can't make it, we're having you on next Tuesday. So, announcement, next Tuesday, Melody Brunt will be on, unless she tells us otherwise.
It is
and I will contact you.
Set in stone, Melody.
I will contact you on Monday to verify it. Oh, and also, do me a favor. Send me your biography. If you're still listening out there, Melody, send me your bio, and I'm going to post it up on our thing.
Oh, and also, guys, Melody, awesome psychic medium. She is really, really cool, and she does do live readings, I believe, like for yes, she does with her name slips my mind. I can't think of it. She is also absolutely wonderful. Melody, maybe you could post her. I think her name's Erin. Just to let you guys know, absolutely wonderful people. I love them all.
Yeah.
So you guys are awesome, and I can't wait to have you on next week because it's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's happening. All right, Barry. Barry says, "Okay, thanks. I've seen on quite a few paranormal shows that present shadow figures as always being there. Of course they do. That's TV, Barry. Every time there's a shadow figure, it's negative, it's bad, it's evil, it's whatever. You know why? Because that's what makes good TV. Remember, TV is for entertainment. Even the shows I've been on. I mean, they do a pretty good job telling our stories. They're pretty 80%, 90% accurate. Haunted case files, at least. But you got to remember, these shows are about entertaining people and making ratings. So yeah, it's nice to say, oh yeah, and shadow figures are all negative. To some people, they may have been. That may have been their experience with them, but not all really are. I've had other experiences doing this thing for all this stuff for years and years now. Not everything is always negative, a lot of times things can be misunderstood as being negative just because something is desperate to get your attention. Okay. Sarah, Alexia, my mother and I once watched shadow figures jumping over my father sleeping in bed at night. That's interesting. It turned itself to us and swooped down into my face, inches away, trying to scare us. I was creeped out. How do you interpret this? Well, if you were freaked out by it, then yeah, its intent was probably not positive. Why it was kind of jumping back and forth over your father sleeping in bed, I don't know. Can't tell you that. I don't think there's quite enough information on all that to tell you what its intent was. Was your father ill at the time? Was it draining energy from? Was he always seemed tired, drained? There are some shadow figures, some type of things like that are negative, and they will try to drain. Spirits will try to drain energy from you, and they can cause you to become very ill and eventually even die. They don't typically kill people, but they try to just drain energy from you. They don't know how much they're taking, I don't think. In the cases of demonic type entities, it's a little bit different. But since you felt creeped out by it and it did kind of lunge at you to try to scare you, I would say its intent was not positive. It was trying to chase you away, at least anyway, so it could go back to doing whatever it was doing. So I would not say that's a positive intent, but I don't know what its total intentions were. And my sister says yes, because I scare it. It's her shadow figure. Yeah, I'm sure I do. Either that or it's because you're back home and hey, if it was dead, then guess what? You're back home. It's where you need to be. Maybe it's been trying to chase you back home all this time, Shelley. This is Ellen to us. Hey, Puddin' Pops, hope you're all doing well. We're doing good, Ellen. You still scare me. Look at that picture. That's a scary picture.
If you've got it, haunt it.
If you got it, haunt it. Yeah. But her face looks like a scary ghost. Just being silly. We miss you, Ellen. Glad she's on checking everything out. Ruth is saying hi to Ellen. Cheryl Brookshire says hi to
Cheryl.
us. Hello, Cheryl.
George.
Daniela says thanks. Oh, George.
Hey, George. George is awesome.
Hello, George. What's going on here? Same as always. We're answering people's questions. Throw a question out, George. Hope you're doing well.
Or you can draw a picture for us.
You can draw a picture for us. That's true, too.
I don't know if you remember that last show we had.
Yes, I remember.
I'll always remember. That was awesome.
I see. What else we got going on? Hi, Jack and Carly. Hope you both are doing well. Stay safe. It's Crystal Lee. Crystal, thank you. We're doing good over here. You stay safe and healthy out there as well. Keith has written to us. Carly Hall, do you think spirits can try to tell a person that person has an empathic gift? So can a spirit tell somebody that they're empathic?
Yeah. I've had one tell me that. I had my grandfather tell me that. And he was passed. It was in a visitation dream. But yes, I do believe that spirits can tell other people that they have the empathic gift because they would be the ones to see that the most, at least. The way it's described, that spirits see other people that have gifts, like either medium, psychic medium gifts or empathic, is they are seen more as like a brighter light on the other side. They're able to determine who can and cannot receive their messages in a way. So you're like a magnet to the spirit world. Um, so in that turn, people with gifts do need to be more careful with protection.
Mm.
So
This is just a statement by George. I thought I'd throw up there. Is possible in the paranormal. That's why it's so mind blowing. That's why we do it. Good point, George. Very good point. Anything is possible. I never throw down anybody's ideas or concepts about things, because we all have theories, right? Everybody has a theory, and look, some of them sound crazy, but what the hell do I know? Can't tell you what's if somebody's theory is right or wrong until we prove it or disprove it. All right. Yep. And Keith just says, I think that's why people give the paranormal field gets so much grief from other fields, is because we truly don't have certification or license. People say, what's your training? People say that, right? I mean, we can say that. People say, hey, what's your training? What do you do? You're not licensed. But we are. Many of us are licensed in different things. I mean, you got to remember, a lot of what we do and a lot of what we're looking at, a lot of us work in different either engineering or science fields or other types of fields. Keith there was in the oh my God, my mind just went blank. Anyway, Keith was a firefighter and worked in those fields for many, many years. And there's a lot involved with that field that they learn and they find out about, electricity and fires and all these different element type things.
gases,
Different types of gases that can cause people problems and issues that you can't see, that you may be hallucinating because of one of these things or another. But the point is, when you bring a group of people together that have all these different certifications or all these different backgrounds, and many of them have training, certifications, degrees in different fields and stuff like that, it is truly being looked at in a scientific way. And it is being reviewed. And that's why we try to figure out more natural causes for these things first. The problem with the paranormal field is just that there's no solidification, I guess, solid
there's no black and white.
training for it. There's not something that you can say, okay, you're trained to be an investigator. That is something that I am working on. As some people know, I do give courses in paranormal investigating, which aren't just classes. I mean, it's not just class courses. It's also field training and how to investigate and how to use this type of equipment to try to determine whether something paranormal is going on. And these are scientific instruments and things we are using. So you can organize it so that it can become a more accepted field. It's just, you just got to work towards that end. I think you could eventually certify people in being an investigator, just like any other, like there's investigators for other things, for other fields. It's knowing, I think that part of it is just knowing the equipment to use, the best way to use that equipment, and certain techniques for using that equipment to try to determine whether something is potentially paranormal or whether it's something of a more natural or man-made source. All right, that's the type of training that needs to be done. Whether you're working with clients or whether you're just trying to prove the existence of the paranormal, there has to be that one let's say commonality of investigation technique. Okay, investigation method. Right? And scientific method is part of that, which already exists, but it's putting that into use for what we do. Right, and learning how to do that and learning different things. But there's also a spiritual end to the paranormal that you can't ignore. And how do you train for that? I don't know if you can totally train for that, but you have to train investigators that there is a spiritual aspect to this in a major way. It's a spiritual aspect to this. You can't ignore that and just expect instrumentation to give you all the answers. You have to learn about other things, other whether it's religions or theories on the human soul and things like that. This is stuff that's learned over time. Maybe you can train people for that a little bit, or give them some teachings on it to make them a better investigator, and come up with some of the more common theories that are out there with regards to the paranormal. There's a lot of theories out there. There's tons of them. But when you're talking, there's different parts of the paranormal too. You have cryptids, you have UFOs, you have the spiritual realm, the ghost hunting stuff, and trying to help people with attachments and things like that. And you have all these different parts of it. So you have to look at them all separately as different fields of study. Okay. And they are different fields of study, and you have to look at them that way, and you have to approach them that way. My field of study I'm trying to teach has to do with investigating for the potential of spirit interaction in locations. I'm not dealing with the field of study of cryptids or the field of study of UFOs. There are other people much better at that could approach that better. But you have to look at these things, and you have to look at the spirituality when dealing with investigating to see if a place is haunted, or see if a person is haunted, or if there's a haunting going on, or if there's a demonic possession going on. You got to learn all these things. You have to have different experts come in and teach about these things, which we try to do with the course that we're having. I mean, we're doing a basic course to begin with, then we're going to do a 102 course. So you got to have different courses, and that's what I'm trying to do with my end of it, to expand it a little further, maybe move it a little bit more towards away from the quasi field to a more solidified field, or more at least organized field. And I don't have all the answers, and I'm not saying everything I'm doing is right, but it's a beginning, it's a start. And that kind of really started to me with Jason and Grant and what they were doing during their paranormal boot camps. And that's where they were teaching different things about investigating and stuff like that. I'm taking it just a little bit step in a different direction by making them college non-credit college course, but still a college course, where people can go in and we do so many classes and they learn from my textbook that I wrote. And my textbook isn't the end all be all, but it's a start. I think it covers a lot of stuff, but so we're working towards those ends. So yeah, I don't know if I just went off the boat there, but yeah, it is what it is. It's my thoughts on things. And I think we can eventually move towards a more accepted realm, especially since some people in the scientific communities are now getting involved with it, and they're taking it seriously. So it is moving. It's moving in the right direction. We just got to keep it going. I'll put us up from Regina. She says, "Hi, Jack and Carly. Thanks for doing this show. I love it. What are your thoughts on mind-eye apparitions? I have them, and I find them interesting. If they go negative, I open my eyes. Do you think this is me expending my brain or expand? I think it's been expanding my brain and my mind, or do you? It's a very long.
Do you think it's paranormal?
Yeah. Or do you think it's paranormal? Go ahead, Carly. I'll let you address that. I know what my thoughts are on that, but I just talked a lot, so.
So the first thing I'm going to touch on is, for people who don't know, what mind-eye apparitions are. So there are two ways that you can technically visualize spirit. Right out in front of you with your physical eye, or with your mind's eye. So your mind's eye is located right here in between your two eyes. It's called your, this is the third eye chakra. So when you are seeing spirits with your mind's eye, you can either see them as, some people see them as an actual holographic image in front of them, or they can see them as images or flashes inside their mind. It's very quick. I do have them myself. So my thoughts on them, if they go negative and you open your eyes, do you think that's you expanding your brain and mind, or do you think this is paranormal? I actually think that's a mix of both. If you look at the definition of paranormal, it is not normal. There is no scientific definition to explain that what is going on is, like, there's no explanation to it. There's only your experience. So, yes, you are expanding your brain and your mind because you're flexing your psychic muscles. You're making your intuition and your mind's eye stronger by doing that in a paranormal sense.
There you go.
So yeah.
Let's throw this. I threw this up as a second for Keith, but I just want to say it. April 25th, Paranormal 911. I had any. Keith's episode will be on. You guys should catch that. It's a very interesting.
We'll be watching.
And I'm going to go back to Sarah Alexi's thing about the shadow figure over her father there. He was a heavy drinker. This made me think of something. What that could have been, that dark shadow figure then you're seeing. If he was a heavy drinker, we all have our own kind of personal demons in a way. They're not necessarily demons, but the personal demons. That could have been a manifestation, since he was asleep, of his own internal issues fighting within himself.
Conflicts.
The conflicts, the drinking, the negative individual part of who he was. You actually could have seen that could have been projected from him, and that's why it was over him. And when it saw you guys, it kind of tried to chase you out, you and your mother. So I mean, that's a concept. It's a thought that maybe it was just his own internal demon, so to speak, that you actually visualized, that you actually saw, that was causing him to be partly the way he was. And that can be a lot of things, anxieties and issues from when he was a kid, and a lot of things. And these manifest into kind of like its own little creature, so to speak. And maybe that's what you saw that night. Was that? I don't know if that makes sense to you, Sarah. Just Sean brings up a lot of talk about shadow figures or shadow figure ghosts who have passed on, or demonic, or some other type of paranormal phenomenon. Again, Sean talking about shadow figures. I've seen shadow figures that are benign, that were just kind of watching me. I think they were curious about what we were doing on the investigation, why we were there, or maybe trying to reach out to help the individual we were helping. I've seen shadow figures that scared the living daylights out of me too. So again, it all depends, I think, on it's like anything else. Everything emits some type of energy, or some type, just like people. We emit some kind of energy that we pick up on and go, ooh, I don't know if I want to be around that person, or wow, I need to get the hell out of here, right? You walk into a bar and there's a fight about to break out. You can feel that energy. It's like, need to go, right? So that can be negative. Then you have other things that are much more benign. So there's no single one answer to that. You have to take things as one-on-one. You got to take things one at a time. It's just like there's no one type of individual in the world. There's no one type of shadow figure out there. There's different types. Some are malevolent. Some are just curious, some are benign, some are just how they appear to us, so that we can see them, and it can be just a spirit. I watched a shadow figure of an individual on this ship out in San Diego called the Star of India. I watched it walk out of one shadow area, looked like a full-blown male figure walked out of one shadow, across a lit deck, and into another, but it was pitch black, and it walked into their set of shadows. It just disappeared. I didn't feel negativity from it. I was just like stunned by it. I never saw that. It was the first time I saw something like that, where it actually walked across an open deck, and I was like, what the hell was that? And there was nobody else on the ship. All of us, the five of us that were on the ship, were all down this one area. Three of us watched it happen. Very strange, very weird. Didn't make a noise either. No noise. On a wooden deck, made no noise. So, but I wasn't afraid of it. I was just kind of like, what the hell was I just looking at? So there's no simple single answer to that. It varies based on the circumstance and what you run into when you see these things. if you see one and you feel scared, like you should leave and get out, its intent probably isn't positive. Okay, it's probably negative intent. If you see it and you're just like, what the hell am I looking at? It's probably benign. I mean, it's not going to hurt you. It's just curious about you as you are about it. Uh, and our good friend Helena says, hey guys, sorry I'm late to the show. Your nephew wasn't sleeping. Well, that darn nephew of ours, he needs to sleep. It's late. It's late over there, or early morning, one or the other. If those of you who don't know, Helena is from the UK. She's our good friend. Her husband Alex, and their little one Bowie are all from the UK. Bowie's our little
So
nephew,
cool.
and we're gonna hopefully get to see him maybe this year or next year. Get to make a trip over there to see it and visit. So, but tell him to go to sleep.
I love her next question.
Why? What's her next question?
Where's your hair?
Oh, where's my hair? You didn't send it yet. You're supposed to send me hair, aren't you? I think.
We have a plan for that.
Yeah.
I think I was supposed to put Sharpie to your head.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
All right, George. Throw it up another one from George. You both here are amazing together. If you ever have a spot open, love to talk about paranormal activity, unity, or just positivity. George, yes, we'll have you on sometime. We're always here for to answer people's questions about the paranormal. Not that you can't talk about what is something you would like to talk about. We don't do interviews per se. We let you come on and just talk about what you want to talk about.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we could do that with you, George. Sure, we'll schedule you out. Private message me, and we'll work out a date and time. I promise we'll get that done.
And I will write down it right here. Right on my schedule.
Yep.
Right here.
There you go. Yes, we'll put you on the schedule. So mark
Yes.
Melody for next Tuesday too. And Helena says spirits can tell you a lot of things if you don't know about anyone with a gift or beacon. I worked out. I have been investigating and I have owned a team for 17 years. Jack, love you guys. I know you have. You've been very, very much involved in the paranormal. You and Alex both for many years now, and we appreciate that. And you guys do have a little bit different outlook on things over there in the UK, which I love.
I love his stories too.
Yeah, and you know what? We are at 9:06 p.m. That's our show for today. I know we ran over before. If we didn't get to your question tonight, we will try to get to it. But if you are looking for any good books to read, you can find mine online at Amazon.com. Remember, we're here every Tuesday night. You can find a couple of my books again online. Here's Spirits of New England, Haunting Ghosts and Demons. That's on Amazon.com, $14.99. Look at that. And then there's also Paranormal Research. This is a book I use to give my courses with. And also Carly helps give my courses as well. And that's also available on Amazon.com. You may be able to a cheaper price than that. I'm not sure. But $24.99. It's a hardcover book. A lot of good information on there. I'm going to take that down right now. So you can catch us. You can catch all that again on Amazon.com. Again, catch us here every Tuesday night, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next Tuesday, if Melody is willing, Melody Brunch will be on, and we will have her. And then maybe in 2 weeks from today, we can have George. George on if George would like to be. George just messaged me again, and we'll set you up a date and time. But we will be here regardless.
Yes.
Thank you all again for watching tonight and listening. We love you all. Stay safe out there, and be healthy. And stay away from the virus. Still quarantine. If they're telling you to quarantine. We know we're all sick of it. We know we're all trying to get through it. But
not quarantine is just going to make it longer.
Yeah, more people will get sick. You might catch it. So stay quarantined for now, my friends. All right, we love you all. Take care. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you again next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.